And by the way, you can add to that list another great director, Alfred Hitchcock. Well, I figured this crowd would know who Alfred Hitchcock was. One of the greatest suspense directors that ever lived, and literally he took that particular genre of movie, millennium jumps, and he was never ever awarded by an Oscar. I think he got an honorary one at the end of his life, which was really meaningless, but it wasn't really one for a movie. So anyway, just a passing footnote. Any other questions? I've given you a taste of what Stanley was about. He was also nuts, you know, he was also crazy. For instance, when we were working on location, you never wanted to get behind Stanley Kubrick in the car, you know, on these tiny English roads, because he drove at 15 miles an hour. And sometimes he had a crash helmet on in his Mercedes. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I gave him a ride once in my MG, my little sports car, with his daughter Vivian, who was about 11 or something. She was crammed in the back, and I thought I'd just go, not that fast, but I mean, quick enough. He was shitting himself. And you know, I was just this young actor, and I thought, I have some power over the director. He was totally freaked out. But that was fun. Anyway, there you are, there's Stan. Yes?
In Clockwork, when you're going through that procedure in the jail, where they have the thing to open your eyes?
In the Ludovico treatment, yes.
Was that very painful?
Glad you asked. These lid locks are used in delicate eye operations. Now, normally, the patient is lying flat on his or her back. Now, I was sitting up watching movies. Now, did it hurt at the time? No, because my eyes were anesthetized. And we had the guy there is in this doctor who's in the film is actually a doctor from Moorfields Eye Hospital. So that, that he had to put in these artificial tears into my eyes every 10 or 12 or whatever it is seconds, because if you don't keep the eye moist, the cornea dries up and you are rendered sightless, blind. So when Stanley showed me a picture of a patient with these lid locks, I looked at it and went, oh, that's nice. He went, yeah, but, I went, what? He goes, you're going to wear those. I went, no way. He said, what? I can't wear those. He said, no, I have a doctor. He's going to talk to you and tell you that it's perfectly safe. I went, would you do it? Silence. Never answered me. Anyway, the doctor did assure me that no problem. So this doctor, when we came to do the shoot, he was, a very nice guy, but he wasn't an actor, and he was very nervous about being in a Stanley Kubrick film. And I kept, I was in a straitjacket, I couldn't really move much, and, and then Stanley came down and said, Doc, why don't you say something to Malcolm like, how you feeling, little Alex? And he went, okay, thanks. Then Stanley left, right? He went to the back of the room, and then the guy turns to me, he goes, what's your name again? I'm going, Doc, don't worry about the line. Just don't even worry. Just make sure you get the drops in every 10 seconds. Because I don't want to be blind, for my heart. So he's going, I said, Alex, how are you feeling today, little Alex? I mean, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's meaningless. It's not Shakespeare. You're not going to win the Academy Award for this performance. But I don't want to go blind. Just keep it going in. So he was going, doing it, and then I was counting off. And I was like, Like, get him in, Doc, get him in. Anyway, luckily, everything was fine. But on the way home, when the anesthetic wore off, yes, holy crap. It was like somebody had a razor blade and had taken it down my body like that and cut into me. It was actually the most painful thing I've ever been through in my life. My doctor, thank God he lived around the corner, came and gave me a shot of morphine. Have you ever tried morphine? He said, count to 10. I got to 3. 1, 2. Oh. Yes, anyway. Yes?
How long were you working on A Clockwork Orange for?
How long? Well, the shoot was, I think, 7 months, and I was working at least 6 months beforehand on the pre-production, doing the, figuring out what, the costumes were going to be, and the this, the that, and just hanging over at Stanley's and kind of working with other cast and that kind of stuff. So, probably a year, over a year, I think. Yeah, a long time, really. But it went like...
The quality paid off.
Yes, the quality, yeah. Well, that's Stanley Kubrick. Yes. Yes?
Could you explain the logistics of the scene with the 2 girls and with the lollipops? Like how you actually did that scene? Because if you do it in slow-mo, it's rather interesting. In the bedroom after...
I know the scene. The man has a filthy, rotten mind. Well, the lens and the camera that was used was a big Mitchell that he used on 2001. And it moved so slowly that actually the actual time that we actually shot to shoot that scene was 28 minutes. When you see it with the William Tell overture played over it, I think it takes maybe 2 minutes. So these 2 girls that were cast, very pretty, one blonde, one brunette, very nice. Yeah. And I was young myself. No, let's not jump to conclusions. It was all for art. Well, the thing is that Stanley, I knew, had a little bit of a crush on the brunette. So, he was the big boss, and he was always, laying down this, that, and the other rules, and this, that, and the other, blah, blah. So any little thing I could get to wedge a little bit of an opportunity, I did. So he couldn't get into the room. It was a real room in an apartment, and the camera filled the doorway. It was completely huge. These Mitchell cameras were huge. And so there it was. He was kind of looking over the top of it. And so we come in, just real time. We all get undressed. I take the blonde first. I give her the business. And we're talking away. And I'm going, how's this feel, darling? All right? Okay, I'm going to get on top of you now. I'll give you a bit of the old in, out. Lovely, lovely. And Stanley's shouting orders like, okay, get dressed. Okay, get off her, get dressed. Okay, Stan, right, get dressed. I get dressed, she gets dressed. Then I go over to the other one, the brunette. And I undress the brunette, right? I wish I'd had the presence of mind to look a little more in detail at the bodies because they were gorgeous, but as I was acting, I just sort of never saw a thing except a blur. The breast was a blur like that, and that's all I remember. But so the brunette is now Starkers. I'm now Starkers. I've got her on the bed, and I'm humping away. Real horror show. And I'm giving it a bit of this, and Stanley goes, okay, Mark, that's enough. Ignore it. Boom. Another 5, 10 seconds. All right. Mark, that's enough. I went, I'm not finished, Dan. I'm not finished. Drove him nuts. he couldn't get into the set because the camera was in the door. Well, he was so pissed. I said, sorry, I think my hearing on this side is going weird. I couldn't actually hear what he was saying. He goes, well, I said, I shouted it out. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it. So that was my fun little joke with him on that one.